So guys, we meet after quite a long time. So how's it going? The preparations all going good? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, Kesari.
So how is the prep going?
Fine.
I had shared a quiz yesterday. In fact, two quizzes. So anybody who gave it a shot?
Uh,
I
Tried numbers one Kesari, but trying to solve all the answers. That's why I was not responding.
Okay, and how much time did it take?
Approximately 45 minutes, I think, Kesari. I went through all the questions, but I didn't get few.
Okay, others?
the same is the case with my thing. Numbers one, I frankly speaking, I completely forgot few basic concepts, so I had to revise everything and then start. So similarly, I couldn't do everything, but few I was able to solve.
Few as in.
Uh, in 14 questions, I was able to solve somewhere around 6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7 in 45 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere in 40 minutes.
That's quite a long time.
Yeah,
And that too, let's suppose out of 6 or 7, if you get 2, 3 wrong, that's like basically if I go into a CAT paper, there are 34 questions. Okay.
yeah.
And
In those 45 minutes, I even included the revision part also. Actually, I mean, once I started doing, I realized that I forgot everything. Then I went back and I started doing.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll set the benchmark for you. What will be your benchmarks? So 34 questions. If I just mark the answer B, 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 B for everybody, or it take anything, A, B, C, D, whichever be your favorite ones. Everybody has their favorite ones. Even if you mark just one option for everybody, it takes just a minute. Okay. And in those 1 minute, let's say out of this, the probability of every answer being 0.25. So let's say I get 6 to 7 correct and rest all are wrong. So that means in just 1 minute, I will get close to, if I am lucky enough, I might get 10 correct. If I am not lucky enough, it might be 4 or 5 correct. So if I'm lucky enough in 1 or 2 minutes, and by eliminating some options, if I still give some extra time, in 10 minutes, I can solve 30 questions. I'm not solving the questions, I'm just eliminating a few options and just marking random answers. I can get 10 correct roughly, depending on the paper. In that way, I should get 30 marks and roughly 14 marks should be deducted. So I will get close to 16 marks in around 10 minutes. And after that, I can start building up on that. So at least that's the basic amount of marks that you should be expecting by yourself. That's the lowest benchmark you should have for yourself. Just to give you a heads up how things can go. Like you might have somebody who has not at all prepared for CAT, but he's street smart in his approach, and they might do something like this. So if it does something like this and still gets better of you guys, then that's a question of worry. Others, how did you attempt it? Or others haven't attempted it yet? Okay, I'll have to pinpoint then. Aditya, how did your test go?
Yeah, Kesri, I didn't attempt it yet, Kesri.
Why? Busy with the lectures at college?
No. My college is already done, Kesri.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I am doing is I'm trying to save these tests, Kesri. Like in the sense, what kind of approach that I am doing is I've downloaded this PDF copy of Arun Sharma book. So of how to prepare CAT. So along with what you have thought, your techniques and what are written in that, I'm trying to go, scan through the complete book of all the topics. So I'm completing the block which contains numbers, and I've already done allegations mixture. So what I'm trying to do is first complete all those and then coming on to the test.
See, you will be getting a lot more tests. Like I have a question bank, and if I start rolling them out every week, it's like you will get such quizzes every week. The only thing is, I'm planning strategically as to when and how to give which format questions, and that's why they are very selected. So, I have the question bank of all the classes test series of past 5 to 6 years, and I have like handpicked the questions which are more than 100 to 200 questions on every specific topic. So, and I am planning to giving those once the syllabus gets over, once we have a revision lecture starting. So, if you
Okay.
try to save this for that purpose, that's not that it won't help, because we already have a lot of questions there which you will be expecting. So I would say don't save these questions for that time,
Okay.
because the purpose of these questions is to give you the basic idea and understanding.
Okay.
If you take these questions as a revision part for later, then that might not be that helpful.
Yes, guys.
Okay, yeah. Anshula, did you attempt it?
Hi, Kesty. Yeah, I overview the questions, but not able to solve them.
Why?
20
What the
to 30
questions?
because actually my office work is going so much.
Okay.
I'm not able to
Okay.
do this.
Hmm.
But last week I prepared very well for all the topics and stuff.
Okay. All right. See, guys, ideally, both the tests, like numbers one should take 40-45 minutes at max. At max, like ideal time should be half an hour, and numbers two should be half an hour. So for me, an ideal time would be an hour, in which I would like to attempt 24 questions. That is the number I would say, 24 to 23 questions at this stage. And these are not tough questions. Like we have solved tougher questions in the class. These are much easier questions than that. And you'd find one or two questions are in fact repeat questions if you have scanned through the paper correctly. So yeah, it won't be that difficult if you guys are expecting. Yeah, but like I said, if you guys have had a long break, like what I would ideally suggest is whatever is being taught to you guys, try to revise through it through the class notes, as soon as the lecture recording is available, go through it once, twice, and try to revise it. If you get stuck in a question, search for that concept where it was present in the recording and revisit it once or twice. Trust me, you will be very well acquainted with the topic and you won't forget it that easily. Okay. All right then. Hopefully, see guys, as soon as you complete this numbers one and numbers two ka test, I have the numbers three ka assignment with me, and that's why I'm specifically holding it back. And I don't want to bombard all the assignments at you or at just once, and that's why I'm holding it back. So the sooner you complete, you will have your as a numbers three assignment with you, and that is quite easy. That is not a difficult part. The numbers two part is a little bit difficult, and numbers one concepts are a lot more concepts. That's it. Numbers three is just the different bases and calculations last that we had done in the last 15-20 minutes. It's not much of a deal, but still, and even this part, geometry part, I would like you guys to complete first numbers, and then I will give you the assignment of the geometry part, because number is a very important concept. I know if I start giving all the assignments of the later part, you guys will short give up on numbers, and it is not an easy topic to be messed up with. Trust me guys on that part. So please request you guys to revise your numbers part, and please attempt that test sincerely, so that I can then focus my efforts on the other assignments. Otherwise, it's just that it will be, for me, it will be teaching like just teaching on this board. That's it. So once again, I please request you guys to be sincere with the assignments and quizzes, and do revise regularly. Okay. So moving forward, geometry part is not that difficult. Numbers were still a bit tad difficult, I would say. Geometry is not that difficult. What you guys will have is that whatever you have learned till 10th standard, that would suffice. In fact, 9th and 10th standard, if I have to be concise. So anybody who had some problems with the 10th standard geometry, or was everybody fine with it? Okay, I guess then everybody was fine with it. Yeah, Aditi, you want to say something?
Yeah, so like if it's still the basics, like applying the basic concepts and trying to find out something, then it's fine. But when we come on to six-sided structures, hexagons, and so on, I usually get a lot more confused in remembering their formulas, because remembering formulas in geometry is really very, very important. So remembering formulas becomes really tough for me.
See, Aditya, I would just tell one simple thing to you.
Yeah.
When pyramid was made using bricks,
Yes.
if you understand a brick, you will understand a pyramid.
Yes.
That's more than sufficient for what applies to geometry. If you are clear cut with the basics, you can clear cut get the answers. You don't need to go into hi-fi stuff. That is more than sufficient. That's why it's stated. Just revise your 10th standard stuff, give it a glance so that it becomes refresh in your mind. You don't have to mug up things. Obviously, if you can mug up things, it helps in a way, but it's not compulsory.
Yes.
Okay.
Kesari, I have issues with angles.
Okay.
I mean, if let's take a problem is two parallel lines and there is a line in intersection line
Transversal
between.
in between.
Those in tension itself, I used to have a lot of problem, but now do you imagine?
Okay, okay. Don't worry. It won't give you that bad of nightmare. Hopefully, we convert into some good thoughts of CAT preparation, and you won't have to revisit those nightmares again.
Hopefully.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we'll have concepts on circles. We'll have concepts on quadrilaterals in general. Any other part too, guys, which you guys remember? Apart from circles and quadrilaterals, and as you said, the parallel lines, the transversal. So the parallel lines. Any other?
Mensurations.
Mensuration is a different topic. That will be covered differently because in that.
In circles,
Sorry.
quadrilateral inscribed in a circle.
That's the combination of these two. Any other that you think?
Coordinate geometry.
Coordinate geometry. Okay, that is different. Coordinate geometry is different than geometry. What do you think is the difference, Aditya? Coordinate geometry and geometry?
Basically, in normal geometry, we do not need to care about the points or the vertices, but whereas in coordinate geometry, each and every vertex is assigned with x or y axis or even z at sometimes.
See, the main importance of coordinate geometry is we do not need to know the structure of the figure we are dealing with. We are representing them in terms of equations. In geometry, we do not need to know the equation. Like if I draw a straight line, I do not need to know the equation of this is ax plus by is equal to c. Yes. What I need to know is how does it plot on the graph. That's the basic difference. Every sum can be solved using coordinate geometry and geometry as well. So it's like two different approaches to a problem. So yeah, that's the difference I would say. Any other apart from these four that we are missing, or has it covered everything?
Kesri, I have one doubt, just a small one.
Yes.
Approximately, can you just, according to importance level, what kind of weightage can we give to geometry in terms of CAT?
At max 2 questions, or if your luck is not on your side, then 3 questions. Not much. Like numbers comes for 6 to 7 questions, and that's the maximum weightage part in CAT. That's why it's gave so much time to numbers.
Okay.
If you are very lucky enough, you will get 1 question. If you're not lucky enough with geometry, you might get 3 questions, not more than that.
Okay.
Like there's no hard and fast rule the CAT deciding committee, like they have not specified exactly like geometry will come for so much marks, this will come for so much marks, but we can always predict looking at the previous year's CAT trends. So those are the numbers which we come across. Okay. So guys, we won't go into details for each and every concept because that is not the important part. What we'll see is like I'll discuss the question, which concept is required in that question, and that is how we'll start with the approach. Or do you guys want me to go with each and every concept first and then attack the questions? How do you guys want it?
Concept with tactic question.
Okay. Others? Okay. Ashwik wants concepts first.
Whichever is easier, Kesari.
That's the perfect answer, whichever is easier. Okay. Well, the easier is the second part. See, there are a lot of concepts which, if I start telling you each and everyone how is it done and everything, like I had done with the numbers, even you guys will get bored of it, and eventually, when we start arriving at the questions, it will be a total bouncer. So what I will do is, don't worry, I will first give you a question and I'll give you the concept as well. But the concept is not required in detail, just the basic one. And I will also give you some tricks wherein even if you don't know the concepts, how will we do it? Let's try this method for some questions. If it doesn't work out, I will start discussing the concepts. Does it work, Ashwik? Fine with it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool then. So for basics, just the basic part, we have a triangle. The sum of all the angles is 180 degree. Then we have angle bisectors. We have perpendicular bisectors. And we have altitudes. This is altitudes. This is angle bisectors and this is perpendicular bisectors. So what is the altitudes ka intersection point known as, guys? Anybody remembers?
Orthocenter.
Yes, orthocenter. What is perpendicular bisectors ka intersection?
Is it centroid?
Circumcenter. And internal bisectors ka intersection is known as?
Incenter.
Yes, incenter. So what is orthocenter, circumcenter, incenter, guys? Anybody? Okay, I will explain two things. One of you has to explain one thing. Incenter is when you draw a circle with incenter as the radius and it touches all the sides. Circumcenter is similar. You take this as the center and draw a circle and it touches all of them externally. Now somebody explain me what is orthocenter.
Which will touch the altitudes?
No. Orthocenter is not related to circles. It was a trick question. That's what is remaining for orthocenters. I mean, there are some formulas which you can derive with it, but we won't go into depth for now. If it is required for the question, I'll tell you there's a formula with the orthocenter and it's related to how to relate this angle with this angle and then this angle and so forth. Currently, it is not required, I would say, if we are to just revisit the basics. So this was the triangles part. Then we have two important concepts in triangles, that is congruency and similarity. We'll just see. So guys, anybody who has any doubt with the congruency part? Any issue with the congruency part? Basically, you guys dealt it with in 9th standard. All right, I'll change my question. What are the different tests through which congruency can be proved?
Side angle, side. Is
Okay.
this that? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, it is that. And others?
SSS, I think.
SSS.
Okay. And
RHS.
yes, RHS, good.
Angle, side angle.
Yes, angle, side angle. Any other?
Angle, angle.
Unfortunately, that is not the case for congruency.
Okay,
That's the
that's
case for similarity. Because I can have an angle 60, 60, 60, and even this 60, 60, 60, but these two are similar. They are not congruent.
yes.
Yeah. So guys, for congruency, basically it's like if I cut out this triangle from the paper and one more triangle from the paper and try putting it one on the other, they basically coincide. That's how congruency is measured, or that's how we define congruency. Similarity is just that in congruency, the ratio between them is 1:1. In similarity, the ratio between them is 1:k. K can be greater than 1, k can be smaller than 1. So all these tests that apply for congruency, they also apply for similarity, apart from AA. So is this part clear, guys? Anybody having any doubt with these two? All right, great then. Let's move then to quadrilaterals. In quadrilateral, what is the first quadrilateral that we have? The first parallelogram, yes. Like, what is the first quadrilateral? How
Square.
many? No, no,
Square.
no. How many sides does the first quadrilateral have?
Square.
4.
Square is a quadrilateral. Yeah, 4. So with any figure that starts from n is equal to 4 is a quadrilateral, and it can go on and on dependingly. So we have square, we have rectangle, we have rhombus, we have kite. Anybody who knows the properties of a kite? Like if this is side A, this is side B, this is side C, this is side D.
A
Then
equal to B and D is equals to C.
yes, perfect. That's how kite is. What is the rhombus?
The
All
parallelogram
sides.
version of square. All sides are equal.
Even in square, all sides are equal.
But diagonals are not equal in case of rhombus.
Okay. All right.
And
Let's
even
put
the
one.
angle is not equal.
Angle, which angle are you referring?
No,
Like,
it's
let's say this is a rhombus. Okay. ABCD is a rhombus. Now, which angle are you referring to?
I mean, the angle of A is not equal to angle of C. Angle of D is not equal to angle of B.
So you mean to say they are not 90, 90, 90 degrees?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So just one small question. Is a square a rhombus?
Yes.
Ashwik? Is a
Uh,
square a rhombus?
I guess no.
No. Okay. Well, a square is a rhombus because square fulfills every property that is required for it to be a rhombus. The vice versa is not true. It's like if you consider sets, this is the set containing square and this is the set containing rhombus. The rhombus is a subset of square. If we have to consider, if we are speaking in the language of sets, you can get such questions. They can modify. I mean, you can get a session reason questions. Sometimes CAT has been notorious with coming up with new types of questions anytime, and we can't predict that part. But still, just having the basics of the knowledge, it helps. So yeah, every square is a rhombus, but the reverse is not true. Same goes for rectangle too. Every square is a rectangle, but every rectangle is not a square. Okay, so enough with that trivia part, and moving forward, in triangles and associating it with parallel lines. So you will have various theorems, like let's say this is a triangle and then proportionality theorem. So that means if this is parallel to this, then if this is in the ratio 1:k, this will also be in the ratio 1:k. K can be any value. If this is the midpoint of this line, then k will become 1. If this is not the midpoint, k will not become 1. These are your basic parts, and there can be many such lines. So depending on the ratio part, you will have, and if they are parallel, same ratio will be transferred here and here as well. So those are some standard questions that you will be seeing. Apart from it, you will be given trapeziums. What is the definition of a trapezium, guys, in quadrilaterals?
Any of the two sides are parallel in a quadrilateral.
Okay, that's it, or is there any other criteria too? If I just give two sides in any quadrilateral parallel, is that a sufficient condition for it to be a trapezium? I'm giving you 10 seconds, guys. Think.
If any two sides are parallel, then obviously the rest two also will be parallel, right?
Rest two will be. Are you sure? I mean, if I draw two parallel lines,
Okay, got it, got it.
or if I draw two parallel lines like this,
Their length should be different.
okay. So you mean to say this is not a trapezium? See, the thing is, you guys have always seen in your textbooks and everything like this is the trapezium or so. The general rule that a trapezium has is two sides are non-parallel and two sides are parallel. There's no equality case here. It's all about parallelism. Two sides are parallel and two sides are non-parallel in a trapezium. That's how a trapezium is formed. And let's say I do not know the formula of a trapezium area formula. How will you guys divide it? Or I would rather ask, how will you guys derive the formula?
Two triangles and one rectangle.
Two triangles and one rectangle. Okay, so you're telling about this part. Okay.
One parallelogram and a right angle triangle.
One parallelogram. Okay, so interesting take here.
Sorry,
One,
wrong. It's not a
one.
right angle.
You can have one parallelogram and you can have one.
One triangle.
Yeah. Also, there can be one more thing. You can have two triangles and you will get some questions like this. So for this triangle, this will be the height, this will be the base. For this upper triangle, this will be the height and this will be the base. I hope this part is clear, everybody. Is it clear, guys, everybody? Moving forward, what is the basic formula of area of a triangle?
Half
Half
Base
into
into height by 2.
Okay. And if the I would say it's not given, neither base is given nor your height is given. Let's say this is A, this is B, this is C. That's it, all you know. Then
Root over S into S minus A into S minus B into S minus C.
that's it.
Where S is equals to A plus B plus C by 2. or 3. What?
2 or 3?
3, I guess.
3.
It's 2. It's 2.
Sorry.
It's known
Okay,
as
okay.
semi-perimeter.
Yeah.
And what is this formula known as?
Heron's formula.
Yes, Heron's formula. Just for knowledge, guys. It won't be asked. Don't worry. So yeah, Heron's formula. Heron's formula. Very occasionally you might need it. It's not necessary, but yeah, just having it helps. Just and S is your semi-perimeter. That means perimeter ka half. Okay, then let's move forward now. In questions like moving forward from quadrilateral, when you have figures having multiple faces, you will call it a polygon. Poly means many, and gon is the sides and angles. So, and you will come across two different types, that is a convex polygon and a concave polygon. Anybody who knows what is a convex or a concave polygon?
It depends upon what angles are we taking into consideration. I don't know if I'm correct or wrong, but then if we consider the sum of all internal angles is 360, then it's a convex. And if we consider the sum of all external angles as 360, then it's a concave.
Okay, yeah, we are quite close. I would say you're almost correct. And any criteria apart from it, like if I do not know the sum of the angles, what you said is correct, but apart from it,
More than 60 is concave, less than 60 is convex.
no, there's no such rule. And see, Aditya, what you said, that is true for a convex or a concave quadrilateral, not a polygon.
Okay, Kesri.
Because the sum of the angles of a polygon might be more than 360.
Yes, Kesri.
Yeah. Anybody, guys? Okay. I will give you a simple test how you can determine whether any polygon is a convex or concave. So this is how a convex polygon looks like. And I would tell this is how a concave one looks like. So you draw any line across the figure, any line. At maximum, how many times is this line intersecting with the figure? Yeah, guys.
8.
No. Just one line.
Okay.
Like if I have to take just this line, at max, how many times it is intersecting?
2 times.
Yes, perfectly. 2 times. Will there be any difference if I rotate the line in some way? Like if I take this line, rotate it and do it like this, how many times will it intersect?
2.
It will still be 2 times. It won't change, right? That will not be the case with your concave polygon. If I draw this line, how many times it is intersecting?
4.
4.
4, exactly. But if I rotate this and place it like this, now it's 2, right? This is how you will come to know it's a concave polygon or a convex polygon. Also, you guys have known that for a quadrilateral, the sum of all the angles, interior angles, is 360. Anybody who knows the formula for this part?
I think it is the number of sides into 60.
No, it's not number of sides into 60. Then if that was the case, your quadrilateral or square will have your sum of the angles 360 into 4.
Yeah, 9 for the 360. It's sufficing, right?
You said sides into 360.
Yeah, so 60, I'm saying. 4 into 60 will give us, no.
240. No.
Okay.
We'll come to it. Don't worry. We'll come to it. Till then, guys, think it's a very easy formula. You guys have studied it in your 10th standard also. That's why I just asked you. Just have a glance over it. You don't need to memorize it. You can even derive it. It's like a normal equation which you can get through it.
N minus 1 into 60?
No. N minus 1 into 60. No. You'll still not get 360 for a quadrilateral. Whatever you are trying to fit, check that if it works for a quadrilateral or not.
Final multiply it with 90, maybe. N minus 1 into 90.
We'll come to it.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah, sure.
There's one more concept, guys, and that would be deriving the number of diagonals in a polygon or different things. That aspect will cover when we discuss the permutations and combinations part. Only just that small aspect. So that we don't mix up geometry for now, because if we try to mix up geometry with permutation and combinations, it might get difficult. But I want to keep this session only geometry, nothing else. So moving from here to your circles part. Now circles, you know the standard. This is the center, whatever you have. This is the radius. A tangent and a radius are always at 90 degree. Circles, they intersect in two types, that is internally and externally. When they intersect internally, they will have one common tangent. When they intersect externally, they can have different ones, like this can be a common one, this can be a common one, this can be a common one. Oh, my bad, I could not draw it correctly. Hold on. Yeah, you will have something like this. So this will be your external tangents. This will be your internal tangent, for say. So this is how you will get in the questions. Sometimes diagrams will not be mentioned, and you will be given that there are two circles who are intersecting, and they have two external common tangents and one internal common tangent. So you will get to know that this is how the figure looks like somehow, and basically that would be it. Now let's say we had that part. Now when the line is outside the circle, it's known as tangent. When it is inside the circle, what is this part known as, guys?
Chord.
Chord, exactly. It is known as chord, and a chord divides a circle in which parts?
Major arc and minor arc.
Yes,
Yeah.
major arc and minor arc. So this is your minor arc, this is your major arc. And if I also consider the area, it will become major segment and minor segment.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a formula or property you could say is any angle that you have inside a segment, these angles will always be equal. And these angles, like this is B, this is A will be always double of B. Standard formula approach. We don't need to go into the details, just need to keep that things in mind. All right, so moving from that part, if I have been given any unknown quadrilateral or even unknown polygon, and I do not know the formula of the standard formula, I would say, of that polygon, what approach would you use? I'm not giving any diagrams because the polygon can be of any sides, any number of sides. It cannot be very haphazard irregular, but it will be a standard regular polygon. How will you guys find the area? I'm giving you 30 seconds, think, and type the, I would say, your sentence in the chat box privately.
Can you repeat the question again, Kesri?
Okay, so I have given you guys an undefined polygon, like it can have n number of sides. It will be a regular one. It will not be an irregular haphazard polygon. It will be a regular polygon. And I wish to know how to calculate the area. What will you guys do? I have to find the area. Like it's, let's assume it's a polygon with 12 sides, regular polygon with 12 sides. And the measurement of each side is 12 centimeter. I do not want to go into the details and calculation part. I wish to know how will I calculate the area. Please type in the chat box and send me privately. I'm giving you 30 seconds or take 1 minute if you guys think extra time. I've received one answer till now. Okay, the second one. Yeah, guys, 30 more seconds. The answers seem to be good on the logic part. I mean, yeah, I can see you guys have conceptual clarity. That's good. Others, send me your approach, please. 30 seconds. Yeah, Prerit, I got your part. It's correct. Uttam, even your approach is manageable. I won't say it's the optimal one, but we can solve using that approach too. Others, last 10 seconds. All right, so then let's discuss. I've got responses from 3 people, including me. We are 9 participants, so that makes 8 of you. 3 have given me the response. 5, I don't know which nightmares are you guys facing, including Astik. So guys, those who haven't answered, where are you guys stuck? Anybody? Those who haven't answered, where are you guys stuck?
Actually, Kesari, I'm stuck between an office call and this I'm in class, so I'm actually alternating between them. So I missed out on the question actually. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, is the question like the irregular polygon? How do we find the area of it? Is that the question?
The regular polygon, not an irregular one, a regular polygon. If I do not know the standard formula of how to find the area, what will be your approach? Take 30 seconds to answer in the chat box. Till then, I will ask the others. Yeah. Others? Manideep, your answer I haven't received. Ashvik, your answer I haven't received. Anshula.
I was just trying to see like, I mean, now let's check if this, uh, area of a square is a square, or area of a rectangle is L into B. So similarly, multiplying the sides or on what parameters you have to multiply is what I was stuck with.
I think you went way too far ahead of what is required to think for this answer.
Okay.
You should what you should do is basically whatever happens, you should write a book on mathematical philosophy. That would really be a bestseller. I mean, you come up with such philosophical terms in maths, that surprises me sometimes.
Sometimes it happens.
Don't trying to think that much, I would say. Just stick to the basics. See, what you are doing is you are unnecessarily complicating things by adding way too much parameters than it is required. I mean, it's like that answer is just in front of you, but instead of looking there, you are looking everything around it.
Get it.
Just simplify your approach, you will get the answer. Others? Anshula?
Casey, I'm not getting the question.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know how to solve it.
Okay. Let me explain it in a simpler terms. I'm discussing this approach because this approach will be very useful for you in solving the area-wise questions. You'll have questions on, like I said, whatever I'm discussing, you will have questions directly on that part, and some would require, I would say, pieces of logical thinking, formula, and option elimination. These three parts combined can sail through your entire geometry. That won't be a problem. Just the basic approach, that is, let's say I have a hexagon. I do not, and every side is x. How will you find the formula of the area? This is what I had asked in basic terms. Now I'm simplifying it and giving it to you on a platter. How will you solve this part? Everybody who hasn't solved it yet, I'm giving you 30 seconds. Now type in. Now it's as easy. Now I don't think there's any difficulty left in the question. You do not know the area formula of this figure. How will you calculate the area? Every side is equal to x and it's a normal hexagon. Think. 30 seconds. Aditya, trigonometry only works when you know the measurement of the angle.
Yeah, K3, we know x, and then since it's a regular hexagon, all the interior angles will be same.
Okay, let's say if
Divide.
it's, yeah, I got your part. What
Yeah.
if instead of 6 sides, it was 11 sides? So your central angle will come out to be something non-standard angle. How will you find the area then? Using trigonometry? Unless and until you don't have trigonometric tables.
Do we have a trigonometry thing in our calculator?
We have trigonometry, but it's more like I would say barely a question is asked from trigonometry in CAT, but ZAT does ask trigonometry. ZAT ka mathematics is more like partial basics of 11th and 12th standard as well.
Okay.
CAT doesn't require trigonometry. We'll have a session on trigonometry, just like half an hour, 45 minutes for trigonometry, but you won't get more than a question.
Yeah. So basically in this, what I was thinking is we know X, I'll find out angle theta, and then I'll use sine or some kind of a formula by, dividing this side of the triangle into furthermore two triangles to give a right angle triangle.
Okay. What if your central angle is 36 degree? How will you solve it now? I'm giving you an example where it's a 10-sided figure. So the central angle of any total circumference is 360 degree, right?
Yeah.
And since there are 10 triangles inside, each central angle will give you a 36 degree. Now,
Yes.
the length of each side of that figure is 10 centimeter. The central angle is 36 degree. How will you solve it? Using trigonometry. Do you know the value of sine 36?
I should know the value of sine 18, not 36, because that one particular triangle having this upper angle of 36 should be again divided into two, because we need a right angle triangle for applying trigonometry. So there.
No, we don't. We don't require a right angle triangle for the
Okay, you're
trigonometry.
saying that. Okay, yeah. Okay, we have one more formula in triangles. Yeah.
Yes.
We always do not need 90 degree. Yes.
Yes, we do not. In fact, see guys, if we have the knowledge of trigonometry, a lot of questions can be solved easily, and you can use trigonometry. That's not an issue. Like if you know trigonometry, I would appreciate if you guys are using trigonometry. And that's why we'll have a trigonometric session in a few days, like 1 or 2 days. It will be there in your schedule. We'll have trigonometry and we'll discuss some of these questions there also, that how we can solve these questions using trigonometry as well. Okay, so let's keep that part for trigonometry sessions. Others, you still haven't answered. Instead of typing now, please unmute your mics and please answer the questions. This is a very important part. That's why I'm spending some quality time in this part. Otherwise, I would have moved through. Yes, Pandana.
I'm thinking it is number of sides into the side length into. I think we can draw some chord or something like.
Yeah, whatever. You are free to draw any construction.
Yeah, so which makes right angle with the side of the polygon.
Okay, let me help you. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, and for your sake of simplicity, this is the center O. Now explain.
Say something like if we draw from O to ED or something like a chord which makes a 90 degrees.
Okay, 90 degree.
But okay, we don't know the length of OD, right?
Yeah, we don't know
can
the
I say
length.
something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just got I thought of something. I don't know it's right or wrong. Maybe already someone has answered. So basically, if I just divide the total 360 central angle by the basis of number of sides, so I'll be getting some angle which is corresponding to each and every side. For example, AF, if we draw lines from them to the center O, we'll get some angle.
Yes.
We will know that angle. Now, what we can do is basically it is if we just see it as a lighthouse problem, this angle is sweeping a length of 12 degrees, 12 centimeters in the side.
Okay.
So I guess using the angle sweeping formula, we can actually multiply the same thing into 12 times.
Yes, that can be done. It can be done. See guys, I'll just say the basic approach that you guys need to understand here, and that would be, see, whenever you guys are given any complex figure, divide it into triangles. Always works. Now, this is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle का area formula you guys know?
√3/4 a square or x cube.
Yeah, side square. You can give any
Yeah,
notion to a
side.
side. Yeah. So this is how you will use it. And how many equilateral triangles are there? 6. Now suppose let's say it wasn't an equilateral triangle, something else. I will try to find out this height. Half into base into height into 6 is the area. This is how I'll come to know. Even if still I do not know what are the angles, but somehow know what is the side, I will use the Heron's formula to find the area of one triangle. And since they all are similar types of triangles, exact same, you will have to multiply it 6 times.
But Kesari, if it's not a equilateral triangle, how will we get to know about
That's
the
why,
other two sides?
that's why I mentioned in the beginning, this is a regular polygon.
Yes.
Yeah. If it's not a regular, if it's an irregular one, you will have different types of triangles and you will have to attack each triangle differently. That's why I said it's a regular polygon. You won't be given irregular polygon. Don't worry, guys. I mean, if it becomes an irregular polygon, then I don't think anything can be helped, but it won't be asked in the syllabus. Yeah. Anybody was asking something?
Kesari, now here you have mentioned that the side AF is x, right?
Yes.
So all the sides values are x itself?
Yes, it is. That's why I said it's a regular polygon with every side equal to same.
Okay, okay. No, I thought of this actually initially, but I thought, okay, the sides might not be equal.
No, they are equal.
Okay, okay.
Okay, my bad if I couldn't say that, but yeah, every regular polygon means everything's are equal and every angle is equal to. We'll use this vocabulary moving forward as well. Okay, so everybody got a clear picture how to solve such questions. Anybody who still has some doubt left? Okay, nobody then, great. We'll move forward. Everybody, just a small thing. Everybody knows distance formula.
Yeah, speed into time.
Sorry?
No.
Distance is equal to speed into time.
Acha, no, not that distance formula. The coordinate geometry wala distance formula.
x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1.
Yes, that one. Everybody knows it. I mean, I'm not going to ask you guys the formula, don't worry, but do you guys have the idea of that part?
Yes.
Yes, but I forgot.
Okay, don't worry, we'll cover it. That's why I'm telling I won't ask you guys, but you guys have the idea like how it is used, where it is
Yes,
used,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, basically you can reconsider the distance formula as something more commonly known as Pythagoras theorem, because your distance formula was derived using the Pythagoras theorem. Everybody knew that?
Yes.
Okay, I will give you an example. Let's state that is 0, 0, right? Now, this triangle is on x-axis and y-axis. Now this is x, 0. This is 0, y. Now, according to the Pythagoras theorem, what would be the formula? Anybody?
H square is equal to O square plus A square.
This side square plus this side square is equal to this side square.
Yes.
So according to the Pythagoras theorem, this distance is equal to this.
Yes.
So basically square. So when you take the under root, you will have x square plus y square, which is the distance between these 2 points. That is x minus 0 ka square plus y minus 0 ka square.
Yes.
And that is how your distance formula came into existence. You can add your x2, x1 and complicate the things, but it will still be the same thing, like nothing new. So all right, with that part done, we'll start with the basics question. Everybody, whatever we have discussed till now, it was just pure basics, nothing new, nothing fancy that you haven't understood or discussed, learned here till now. Whatever we discussed, it was till your 9th, 10th standard. Anybody who has any doubt, ask me right now. I'll give you 30 seconds. Take 1 minute, revisit everything that we have discussed. If you guys have anything, we'll discuss that part. Otherwise, we'll move to the questions. Take a minute, sharp 1 minute. We'll move after 1 minute to the problem.
Yeah, Kesari, you were talking about a common tangent between two circles.
Yes.
So can you please speak more about that? See, you drew two tangents which are, touching two different circles, which are internally intersecting with each other.
Yes.
Like, when do we call that it's a common tangent to two circles? The beside one.
This one.
Yeah, this one. No, this
Yeah.
one. Towards the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, these are all common tangents. This is a direct common tangent. This is an indirect common tangent, I would say. That's it.
So
You'll also have one thing. You'll be, let's say it's this part, right?
Yeah.
So you can have this, you can have this, you can have this part.
Yes, this is because one tangent is touching both the circles, and that it's not.
Yeah. No, even this is touching it here itself.
I'm saying for the above one.
Yeah, this one is not there. This is the common tangent part. This is not this. This is the tangent only for this circle. This is the tangent for this circle, and this will be the common one. This won't be called your common tangent. If this is your doubt.
Yes, this.
Yeah. This is not your common tangent. This is just a tangent for individual circle.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody having any other doubt? Okay, then we'll move with the problems. So we'll start with the basic problem, and that is in a right angle triangle PQR. Angle P is 90 degree. Let's take angle Q is 30 degree. Now you can determine what is the other angle. I want you guys to find the ratio between PQ is to QR is to PR. There are various approaches to this question. Depends on you how you wish to find it. You can solve it using memory, you can solve it using geometry, you can solve it using coordinate geometry. I will give the options after 30 seconds. Let's see who comes up with the answer before 30 seconds. Okay, so anybody hasn't come up with the answer, then let me give the options. The options are root 3, 1, 2, root 3, 2, 1, 1, root 3, 4, 1, 2, root 3. A, B, C, D. Yeah, guys, now tell me. What would be your answer? Okay, I'm getting two different answers, interestingly. Manideep, please check your answer once again. Anshula, please check your answer once again. All right, I'm getting different answers. Let's see, let's draw it. And let's take the help of some different things. PQR, PQR. This is 90 degree. This is 30 degree. This is 60 degree. Now guys, which according to you should be the longest side?
RQ.
RQ. So in whichever options, RQ is not the longest side. Can I eliminate that part?
Yes.
This is gone, this is gone. Now we are left with two options. Now, which angle is the smallest one?
Q.
Q. So the side in front of angle Q will be the smallest one.
Yes.
We've got our answer. Is this part clear, guys?
Kesari, could you explain it again?
Okay, sure. How I got this figure, this part is clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in this right angle triangle, which side should be the largest, biggest in size?
RQ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So scanning the options in which RQ is not the biggest one, can I strike them out?
Yes.
So A and C are gone. Now left with B and D. Now you can use two things. If you are good in trigonometry, you can
Yeah,
find out.
I've done that approach, but I got A option.
You got A option.
Yeah, option A.
1 minute.
Same I got case. 30.
1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Angle P is 90 degree. Hopefully I've drawn the diagram correctly. Angle P is 90 degree. Yes. Angle Q is 30. So angle R will be 60. Okay. And then, so according to that part, sine of angle sine 30 should be half. So that means this should be the ratio. The options are reverse part, but I don't think you should get A part still. How are you guys getting A then? Sine 30 is half, not 3 by 2, root 3 by 2, right? Acha, haan, yeah, yes, yes, I got that part. PR, no, that you won't get A part.
By taking tan 30, we will get PR by PQ is equal to 1 by root 3 Nukesh.
PR by PQ. PR by PQ, you should get 1 by root 3.
Yes.
But option A is giving you 2 by root 3. So how did you get A? This is giving you 1 by root 3, which should be your answer.
Sorry, I took those different order I took it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wondered. Both the approaches should give you the same answer. I mean, both the approaches derive
Yeah,
from
correct.
So even if we do not use trigonometry, I think it should be clear, guys. Like the standard thing is the smallest angle ke samne, whichever side you have, that will be a smallest side. The largest angle ke opposite, whichever you have, that would be the largest side. Even if you don't remember the trigonometry, this part should be clear. Everybody understood this part? Any doubts, guys? Okay, we'll move with the next question then. And this would be quite easy one, not much difficult, just the basic. And that is ABCD is a trapezium. ABCD is a trapezium. And a parallelogram. Sorry, ABCD is a trapezium, and you can consider it as a parallelogram as well, in which AB is parallel to CD. AB will be 12 centimeter. CD would be 24 centimeter. EF is parallel to AB. And CD divides the distance between them in the ratio 1:2. CD divides the distance between them in the ratio 1:2. You guys have to find what is EF ka distance. Your options are 15, 14, 16, 18 and 20. Now this is, I would say, a medium level question. Not a particularly easy one, but not a difficult one. If you guys can crack the figure, this is quite an easy one. I repeat the question. ABCD is a trapezium in which AB is parallel to CD. AB is equal to 12 centimeter, CD is equal to 24 centimeter, EF is parallel to AB, and CD, EF is parallel to AB and CD, and divides the distance between AB and CD in the ratio 1:2. Is the question clear, guys? You have to find EF.
Okay, so EF is the line that divides AB and CD in the ratio 1:2, right?
Yes, yes. And EF is also parallel to AB and CD. And it divides the distance between AB and CD in the ratio 1:2. Find EF. Moderate question, I would say, and pretty much the questions that come in CAT are this level. They are not very difficult. One more minute, guys. No, Tom, please check your answer. Yes, Ashvik, your answer is correct. Prerit, check your answer once again. 30 seconds more, guys. No, Aditya, your favorite option is not the answer.
I actually guessed it.
No, but you will have to guess it again. It's not the right answer. All right, guys, it's getting time. Let's solve it. So drawing the figure, we have AB, CD. AB is 12, CD is 24. EF is parallel to AB and CD. So EF is somewhere here. And it divides the distance between AB and CD in 1:2. So this is 1, this is 2. If this is 1, this is 2, this is parallel to this. Can I say this is 1, this is 2, 2 by proportionality theorem? So this is 1, this is 2 as well. Now this is 12, this is 24. Let's say I draw, and this is by exploiting the symmetry. Just listen to me here, guys. I will zoom it just for sake of clarity. If this from 12 to 24 it reached here, clearly this much can be 12, this can be 6, and this can be 6, right? Everybody?
Yeah, Kesri.
Now are we getting a right angle triangle here?
Yes.
There's one important aspect that I need to discuss with you guys, and I specifically held it back. That is, Pythagorean triplets. Everybody understands this part? What is the Pythagorean triplet?
Yes.
Yes, so what is it?
Any three numbers which can be assigned as three sides of a right angle triangle. For
Okay.
example, 5, 6, and 3.
5, 6, and 3. Do they form a right angle triangle? 3, 4, 5 is there. There's no 5, 6, and 3.
Sorry, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, 3, 4, 5. If I multiply all these numbers which with exact same number, will this still remain Pythagorean triplets?
Yes, yes.
Let others give me an example as well. Others, give me an example of a Pythagorean triplet apart from the one which I've written.
12, 13, 5.
Yes, 12, 13, 5. Perfect. Anybody else?
6, 8, 10.
6, 8, 10. Okay. Anybody else? Asvik is comparatively quiet today.
I really hate the topic geometry. That's
So we have found Achilles heel of Asvik then. Happened to me too. During my preparation days, even geometry was my, I would say, worst enemy. It's just that when you understand the basics of it, even if it's your worst enemy, you still solve it. You still are able to crack the questions.
no, I can't. I get confused a lot because there's so many figures and so many formulas to remember. That's why maybe a good amount of practice will help me out.
Ashvik, have you ever seen the horse that pulls any cart, or
No.
even the bullocks that who pull the carts?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's something that is fitted on the head of that horse. Do you know what it is?
Near the eyes part.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I know. Because that's for the horse to focus only on the road.
Yeah, yeah. You need exactly that part.
Yeah.
The thing is, you are viewing a lot more things that are present in front of you and not viewing the exact same thing that is required. And as a result, you're spending way too much time on things that are not required to be spent time on.
Yes, correct.
It happens. It happens. There was a phase when I used to face a similar problem. Don't worry, you will get over it. It's just that it requires a bit of practice. Yeah. So guys, there will be a lot more like 24, 7, 25. There are many. What my point is, even if you multiply it by 2, you will get this. Even if you multiplied it by 3, you will still have 9, 12, 15, which is still a Pythagorean triplet. So there are two approaches to it. One I will discuss now, and one which is the easier one. The difficult one, which is related to Pythagorean triplet, will be homework for you guys, and there, along with it, there will be one more homework. So this is 12, this is 24. What will be the middle line here? If this is 12, this is 24, what will be the middle line? Which
18.
is exactly, which is at the exact equidistance. Now, EF is above that equidistant line or below this equidistant line?
Above.
Above. So will it be greater than 18 or less than 18?
Less than 18.
Yes. And no, it will be less than 18. EF is above this part now. So it will be less than 18.
Yeah, because it is not dividing exactly into half. That's the reason.
Yes, yes. And so this and this is eliminated, right? Now for it to be 14, it should be way too closer to 12. Like this ratio should not be 1:2. It should be something like 1:7 or something. See, what is the difference between 12 and 24? 12. If you guys try to divide it in the ratio 1:2, that is in 3 parts total, how much will you get roughly?
4.
4. Add 4 to 12.
16.
That is your answer. Like I said, there are various aspects in which you can attempt a geometric question. It depends on how you approach it. You can use various formulas, various different things, or sometimes you can use your common sense. This was the common sense approach.
Kesari, could you explain it again because
Yeah,
my
yeah, I'll
internet connection
explain.
was lost.
I'll explain. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll explain it. Yeah, this is the 12. This is the 24. You have to divide 12 and 24 in the ratio of 1:2. The difference between them. Now, what is the difference between 24 and 12? 12. If I have to divide it in the ratio of 1:2, that means how many parts total? 3 parts. One part will go to 12 and the other 2 parts will go to 24, towards 24. So the difference is 12. You divide it in 3 parts. You will have each part worth 4. You will add this 4 to this part from 12. So 12 plus 4 would be 16.
Yeah, got it.
And see, I explained this subtraction part just to give you guys an idea as to how lines are distributed in terms of proportionality, in terms of ratio, using the concept of similarity. For the sake of simplicity, what you guys can do is clearly 12, 24, the middle one should be 18. Is it above 18 part? Like if is it ask yourself the question, is it above the half line? Yes. 18 and 12, 20 will not be the answers. And for 14, the ratio should be way too bigger, which is not the case, and directly you can mark 16 and move. The question will take 10 to 15 seconds to solve. That's it after reading the question. Got this part clear, guys? Anybody, any doubt? Okay. There's one more thing, and this will be a small homework for you guys. If this is 6 and this will be a Pythagoras triangle, what will be this and what will be this?
8 and 10.
Yes, exactly. And there's a beauty of Pythagorean triplets. They somehow occur in all these problems. Somehow they will be there in one way or the other. You don't have to worry about it. In this question, using a Pythagoras approach is not advisable, but because it will unnecessarily increase the length of the question. But just for understanding the concept, I had given this part. Like sometimes if you can just exploit the symmetry, it helps a lot. In the next lecture, we'll discuss how to exploit symmetry, because the upcoming chapters, some of the chapters like statistics, then your coordinate geometry are quite small chapters. They're very small, like they would hardly take 30 to 40 minutes at max. So we have quite some sessions wherein we can cover some tough topics of geometry also, because geometry is a vast one. Although we had given just one session for it, it requires timing of close to 2 sessions. So you don't need to worry about it, guys, because we will discuss a lot more questions. Since we had to cover the basics of theory today, it took some time, but yeah, we'll cover a lot more questions for geometry, so you don't need to worry. After we cover all the questions, you will get your assignment part. You don't need to worry about that part. But because before that, please guys, I urge you once again, please go revise numbers 1 and 2, attempt the quiz, and then report me how much time did it take for you guys. It's only then when every one of you solves, I'll release the answer key, and then I will release the assignment 3 of numbers. The assignment tree of numbers is quite easy. Even if you sit for half an hour, you can easily solve it and you will get most of the answers right. That is not the part. The more important part is numbers 1 and 2. Please, 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 I would urge you guys to please revise it again and please solve it again. So this part is clear, guys. Everybody, what is to be done? One more important thing, you guys had your scheduled lecture of VARC tomorrow, but unfortunately the faculty is busy, and what we have done is I will swap one of my lectures from Saturday for VARC. So on Saturday, you guys had 2 lectures of mine. So instead of that, you will have 1 lecture of mine instead on that day and 1 lecture of VARC. And tomorrow we'll have our session instead. We'll have quant session instead of VARC. So we'll continue with geometry and the next session itself. Hope this part is clear, and I don't think there should be any problem with that part, unless and until anybody was planning not to attend the VRC session and take the day off. Okay, then anybody, any doubt till now, whatever we have discussed, or else we'll wrap up. Anybody, guys, any doubts?
Okay, sir, fine.
Okay, great then. So guys, I've just a short homework for you would be that please go and revise the concepts once again, the glancing part of the geometry. Like I said, you don't need to go in detail and derivation of each and every formula. Just know what a formula is, what are some basic concepts, basic properties. That would be more than enough. Like I said, we need common sense to solve geometry. You don't need high-fi formulas. Sometimes you can clearly see, I'll tell you some techniques wherein using common sense you can easily solve the questions. So all those formulas and everything, if you cannot remember it, no need to worry, you are completely in safe hands, completely fine. All right, then we'll take a stop for today, and then we'll continue for the next session then.